talk about data, mean, median, and mode specifically. Now the mean is the average. What you do to get the mean is you add all the data together and then you divide by how many numbers or how many pieces of data there are total. For instance, suppose this were some test scores: a 91, a 90, an 85, an 80, a 76, a 94, and a 100. To find the average or the mean, I would add all those scores together and I get a total of 616, and then there are 7 test scores total, so I divide my sum by 7 and I get a mean or an average of 88, and in this case it's 88% since we're talking about test scores. Again, the mean is an average. Another example is in temperatures. Let's say we have a temperature of 95 on Monday, 96 on Tuesday, 103 on Wednesday, 99 on Thursday, and 96 on Friday. To find the mean or the average, I add those 5 temperatures together and I get 489, and then I divide by how many temperatures I have, which in this case is 5. And when I divide, notice that I get an answer that does not go in evenly, and so I end up having 97.8 degrees, and that is the average temperature for that work week. Now, believe it or not, that's not too far off. Homework grades, suppose you have, you make an 80 on your homework pretty much every day. An 80, an 80, an 80, an 80, an 80, and then, uh-oh, I don't know what happened there, but you made a 0. Well, this is why your teachers want you to turn in your homework. Because if you take the average of all of those, you add up 80 plus 80 plus 80 plus 80 plus 80 plus 0, you get 400. And when you divide by the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 scores, yes, that 0 counts as a score, you get a 66.6%, which, if you were a teacher or if we were the power school, it would round that grade to a 67%. Look at that and think about that. If you're a student that typically makes 80s, and one day's a bad day and you forget your paper and make a 0, this isn't a really good reflection of what you can do. And so sometimes the average or the mean is not the best way to use the data. I'll show you an example of that in a minute. What this 0 is called is an outlier. An outlier is a piece of data or a data item that is much greater or less than the other items. And so in this case, it really throws the average off. If you're a B student and you don't do your homework, and you become very quickly a D student. That's why doing your homework is so important. But we have other types of measuring data. They're called measures of central tendency. We also have, instead of the mean, we have the median. And the median is the middle number in a set of ordered data. Now, I underlined ordered because you can't find the middle of something until they're in a specific order. They can't just be mumbo jumbo. So here I have some test scores: 91, 90, 85, 80, 76, 94, 100. And I want to put those in order from smallest to greatest, from least to greatest. And then I need to find the median, the middle. And so I can kind of work my way to the middle here. That's the end. Come here. This is the middle. I'm working my way to the middle. And 90 is your median score. And that means it's the number in the middle when the data is listed in order from least to greatest. Now, sometimes when you have data, you have an even number or an even set of data. In other words, look, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of data. And so when we work to the middle, we have 2 numbers in the middle. And to find the median, the very middle of the middle, we have to, in this case, since it's an even set of data and we have 2 in the middle, we have to take the average or the mean of those 2 numbers. So I have to add those together, and then I have to divide by 2, since that's what I'm working with. And 2 goes into 51, whoops, we know that it goes in 25 times with one left over, but that's going to give me, let me do this so that I can get it correct here. That's going to give me 25.5, which is in the middle of 25 and 26. So 25.5 is my median, or the number that's halfway between 25 and 26. Remember, when you find the median, you have to put the numbers in order from least to greatest before you find the middle. The mode is the data, item, or items that appear the most often. Remember that back with your homework scores, if you had 80s on most of your assignments, then the mode in this case is 80. It's the data that occurs the most often. And in this case, it's really a better reflection of what you can do in a particular class. Now, keep in mind, there can be more than one mode in a set of data. For instance, let's say this was ages of the students that came to the dance. 12, 13, 11, 12, 13, 14. Notice that we have two 12s and we have two 13s, so we have two modes, 12 and 13. There can also be no mode in a set of data, and that means if none of the numbers appear more than once. In this case, 58, 60, 61, 68, and 72, none of those numbers appear more than one time. So in this set of data, we say that there is no mode. Now, the mode, the one that's the most, it's also useful for data that's not numerical. Now, the mean and the median, that's very difficult. But with the mode, we can look at things that's not numerical. Like, let's say this is favorite ice creams in the class. And we had someone say theirs was chocolate. Someone else said chocolate. Someone said vanilla, strawberry, vanilla, chocolate. Well, the mode in this case, because it occurs more than any other, is chocolate, which happens to be my favorite ice cream too. Now, a good way to remember the difference between these different measures of central tendency, I have some silly little things. First of all, the mean is the average. Do your homework, and I mean it, because that's typically what your teachers do to figure out your grades in the class, is take an average. Now, the median is the middle. You know that thing in the middle of the road? Sometimes it's pretty, sometimes it has a sign. It might say, "Welcome to Oklahoma City," and there's maybe some trees planted, and it's in the middle of the road, and you don't want to go across it because then you're coming into the other side of traffic. That's called a median, and that's in the middle of the road. So you can remember the median is in the middle. And then finally, the mode. The way I say the mode, I do that on purpose, is because it means the most. The mode occurs the most. The median is the middle set of data when you put them in order. And the mean is the average. Sometimes your teachers can be mean too. So that's a good way to remember mean, median, and mode. I think I'm headed to Brahms for some chocolate ice cream.